Hello world. It's always more satisfying to work in a nice, orderly environment. So here are 3 simple tips to tidy up your effect racks, from looking like this to this. Let's get started. To demonstrate these tips, I'll be making a simple frequency thinning rack, which is really handy for adding movement to a track, like this. If you haven't already, open up Ableton to follow alongside. That way, you'll not only have learned something in these 3 minutes, but you'll have built your own handy effect rack too. So the first thing we need are a low-pass filter and a high-pass filter. So load up 2 auto filters and set one to low-pass and one to high-pass. I have these saved as presets already, so I can simply Command F search for LPF and HPF to load them instantly. You could do this too if you like. Now, select and group the 2 filters. Command G. Jumanji. Next, open the macro control. Click Map. Click the frequency parameter in the first filter and map it to macro 1. Then click the frequency parameter in the second filter and map it to the same macro. As I start to thin the frequencies with this rack, I'd like the frequencies to converge at around 1 kHz. So I'll set the low-pass filter to start fully open at the highest frequency and finish at around 800 Hz. For the high-pass filter, it'll start fully open at the lowest frequency and finish at around 2 kHz. Uncheck the map button, and there you have it. It goes without saying, we should give the macro a descriptive name too, Command R. Now, let's do some quick housekeeping to tidy it up. 1. Colored macros. First, color the macro by right-clicking and selecting a color. This makes it stand out over the other unused parameters. If you accidentally color one of the parameters by mistake, you can simply select No Color. 2. Blank named macros. You could go a step further by removing the default macro names from the other parameters. But if you try this, the default name just pops back up. To get around this, simply Command R and hit the spacebar. You can then quickly go through blanking the remaining parameters by alternately hitting the Tab and Space key. It's pretty fun actually. 3. Show generic values. Sometimes, the value shown on the macro detracts from its function. To illustrate this, I'm going to change the low pass to a morph filter. I map the morph control to macro 2 and limit it to only the low-pass bandpass region. Now I have a neat way to separately filter out the lows. But the values on the parameter aren't really meaningful in this context. We can fix this by simply right-clicking and selecting Show Generic Value. And there you have it. You can finish up by coloring the new parameter, naming it, and saving the rack with a unique preamble, as I like to encourage. And if you've already made improvements to your workflow by using plugin wrappers, like the ones I walk through in my video, you can now use these steps to go through and polish these up too. Click.